Hi everybody, welcome back. We're here once again, we're in studio. LDRS Creative, if you're the first timer here tonight, welcome, extra special. Well, that sounds terrible. Extra special welcome to everybody. You know how much I love doing this with you guys, and I really wish we could do this live. I haven't said that in a while. I mean, not live, but like in person. I love teaching. I absolutely love teaching. It's probably my number one thing to do outside of, coming up with and, working on the new releases. I absolutely love teaching. So this is really fun. For those of you that are new, we do this almost every week. It's always completely free. It's always on YouTube and on Facebook. And, one thing we do ask, if you would, please subscribe and give us some likes. That always helps us out. And lets us know if you appreciate us so we can keep doing this for years to come. So anyway, hello to everybody coming in here. It is a big night tonight. We're going to be working with some of the new Impress-ion Letterpress dies. But hello, I see Lori Langemeyer out here. So welcome, Lori. She is right here in Michigan, just kind of down the street. Lori is here from Texas, Kathleen Finnegan. Lisa is here from South Carolina, Brenda from Arizona. Looks like Will is in the house tonight. Welcome, Will. Cookie D from San Diego, California. Michelle from extreme northern New York. Wow. I'm new. Who are you again? That's Will. Angel is here, and Donna and Beth Vallone and Nancy Jorgensen, Clara. Who else is here? Jay Haas is here. Teresa. I know I saw Patty. Patty was here too, and I think Patty Redmond. Oh, and I saw Cindy Patty was out here. There she is, Cindy Patty. Can't wait to see the letterpress. And yes, Alan is feeling well again. Thank you so much to everybody who was concerned for him and gave him some well wishes. He is feeling, I think, pretty much back to normal now. So he's kind of back to being a little bit of a pain in my neck.
I knew that was coming.
I always know he's feeling well when, but yes, he is back. We are shipping everything in a timely manner once again. Everything is caught up and we're rocking and rolling. And today was actually our big release day. So if you remember last week, we kind of did a sneak peek and we went through the entire collection, including the letterpress, which we're working with tonight. Today was the big release of everything. A little bit delayed, but we got it going. So I'm very excited about that. Cindy Patty says, Alan, you always says you crack the whip. Alan says you crack the whip.
And you crack the whip.
I don't think I'm the one who cracks the whip. You're so funny. It's kind of a he said, she said scenario. And, I'm just saying I think I look more trustworthy
Really?
than Alan. Well, yeah, you're the one who always gets stopped when we're going through the airport security. So.
All right. You're right.
Alrighty. Well, today is a big day. We're going to be working with the letterpress. We call ours Impress-ion Letterpress. And we've got a whole bunch of them, a whole line of Christmas as well as some everyday items in there as well. It is all 150,000% compatible with the Spellbinders Letterpress, which is what I'm going to be working with today. I'm also going to be using it with the Spellbinders Platinum machine. But just so you guys know, I've been playing with these for quite some time now. Our dies are made, first of all, in the exact same factory as the Spellbinders factory. So they are the exact same product, just so you know. But I've been playing with all kinds of different die machines and different inks, including our hybrid inks. And so I'm going to be talking a little bit about that, and as well as our papers. Alan, can you do me a favor? I forgot our watercolor paper, and do you know where they are?
Yes.
Could you grab me a pack of those?
Yes.
Okay, grab me one of each size. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about papers, inks, and just different little kind of tips and tricks that I've been playing with as I work with the letterpress. Now that Alan has left, for a moment, I realize I can't have him go overhead. So I'm just gonna hold these up so I can show you what I'm gonna be working with. So today I'm going to be working with the silver bells. We're going to make a little card with silver bells. We're going to use multiple colors on this. We're going to be using, if you look at this die, we've got the top dies up here. We actually have, it says on them, letterpress dies. And then below we have the standard cutting dies. Mr. Hunt is back, so he's going to be able to switch over for me.
Sorry about that.
So yeah, go ahead and switch the camera so everybody can see this stuff better. Okay, so now you can see better. So here it says impression dies, and that's where you're going to see those three solid dies. I'm going to bring out my working set because I want to talk about these for a moment. There is going to be conversation in this where I'm kind of explaining things if you're new to letterpress, but I do want to let you know when you hold these in your hand, you're going to feel, it almost feels, it's really soft and kind of buttery smooth. It's really interesting. With a little light, like coating, like dusting texture. They're actually coated with, I can't even tell you what they're coated with, but they are coated with something that's a patented product that allows the ink to hold on to the die, but not permanently. It allows it to grab the ink and hold it, and then when you press it, with your machine or whatever, it's then going to release it, almost like you've stamped an image. So it's kind of like you're stamping with dies. If anybody's new to the letterpress, it's like you're stamping with dies. But the really cool thing is you're not just stamping with dies. Because the dies are textured and they're metal, they have the same raised surface like you would find on a cutting die, except it's not sharp, it's not a blade. It allows it to press in. So if you look at this, let's see if I can catch in the light. See how that presses into the paper? I did this with one of our snowflake dies. I showed this last week. So you can actually see how it presses into the paper. And I did it without ink to really show it off. And I like to show this because on camera, when we press it with the ink, it's really hard on camera to see that texture because the ink fills that space. But I wanted you to understand the difference. If you're ever not sure if it's one of the letterpress dies, feel it, because you can definitely tell the difference. And then some of our sets are going to come with your regular wafer cutting dies, and those you're going to use in your regular die machines with your regular die platforms that come with those machines for cutting. But know that your letterpress dies, you do not want, these are thicker. So you don't want to use these with your regular platforms that come with your die cutting machines. You have to use these with, with the better press because they're designed for it. It provides for a smaller platform so that you can run it through without damaging your machine. Okay, so know that and be very careful of that. I don't want anybody to think I'm going to get away with just using these in my die cutting machine. You will hurt your die cutting machine if you use these because in it with the regular platforms, regular sandwich plates, because these dies are thicker. Okay, so you can still use your die cutting machine, but you need to use the better press with it instead. I will also tell you too, for those that have been wondering, and you can see this on the Spellbinders website, they have a whole list of all the compatible machines. The Crafter's Companion Gemini and Anna Griffin's die cutting machine, you're not going to be able to use those because they opted, when they made their die cutting machines, you know that that area where you press, where your plates go through, Crafter's Companion and Anna Griffin opted to make theirs more narrow. And in doing that, they made it so that, other things may not be compatible with them, like the better press is not going to be compatible with it. It won't go through it. It's going to damage that machine. So apologies to those of you, that have a Gemini or one of the Anna Griffin ones, but you're not going to be able to use the better press with it because of how they made those machines. So anyway, that being said, we're going to go on. I'm going to be using the silver bells here, so that's this one. And then for my sentiment, I'm going to use one of the good tidings. And all of these little sentiments here, there's 10 dies in here. We have one for Christmas, and then we have another set that's every day. These are also impression letterpress dies, and so we're going to play with those today as well. And so I have those already on. I don't have mine labeled yet because I'm a little bit behind, but I've got them in my little folders as well here too. So, and what else? Let's see. This is, for those of you that may not be familiar with, Alan, you're going to have to zoom out, maybe. This is the Letterpress. I got tape in mine. Mine's a little dirty because I play with it and I don't clean it all the time.
Tape in your Letterpress?
Tape in my Letterpress. So this is the Letterpress right here, all right? You got these two pieces here. This is your Letterpress platform. And this is your, it's like magnet and spring loaded. This is the lid that is going to grab with the magnets and it's going to press down. So if we look at it sideways here, you can see how it presses down when it goes through the die cutting machine, okay? And then, what?
So it holds the paper up until it goes through the...
Yes, yep. It holds the paper up. Well, kind of. I'll demonstrate all that. And what is to do? I don't understand. Did I miss something? Oh, so you know if you have the, I don't know what that is. The Toto? To do? I don't know what that is. Will, I have no idea what that is. You may have to explain what that is. Sorry. Toto, is that what it is? Does everything? To do? I don't know what that is. Okay. Maybe Will can explain. I don't know. Okay. Well, yeah, and if you're not sure if your machine will work, again, go to the Spellbinders website. They've listed all the compatible and not compatible machines or die cutting machines, so that should answer your questions. I don't know them all. But anyway, it also comes, I think it comes with 3 of these shims. They're really, really thin. And I tend to use one shim almost all the time. So I'll explain when I use it and when I don't with it. And the shim is just going to go on the top. So we'll cover that as well. Now, your Letterpress is going to come, they've got, Spellbinders has their inks, which work beautifully. They have their papers, which work beautifully. And I know there's always questions, do I have to have this? Do I have to have that? Here's what I will tell you. Play with what you have, see what works and what doesn't work. As soon as I got a hold of mine, I started inking with all kinds of different inks. So I use our hybrid inks, and they're absolutely spectacular. I've used, what are the other ones? I've used so many different things that I've tried. Some work really well and some don't. So play with all your different inks and see what works. I will tell you this too. Our watercolor paper that we have now, Spellbinders paper it's a cotton paper. They've said it's from Italy. It is a watercolor paper. That's why when they demo it, a lot of the time they talk about how you can, add watercolor to it. So I went right to our watercolor paper because I'm a crazy nut about watercoloring. And when I was looking for watercolor paper, I wanted watercolor paper that I loved, had a gorgeous, brilliant, white color to it, was a good heavy watercolor paper, nice and smooth, and so on and so forth. So anyway, it's almost identical to theirs. It is a cotton paper. I think it was 1/1000th of an inch thinner than theirs. Ours comes in the A2 size. You can also get it in the slimline size, which, depending on, you don't even have to make slimline cards with this. You can just trim this and, stamp or letterpress and die cut and everything, whatever you want to do with it. So I would tell you, try different papers as well and see what works. You might find some other watercolor papers that work really, really well too. So I just want to let you know this is what I will be using today. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. We're going to start playing. So in here I've got 3 pieces of my watercolor paper. I grabbed some cardstock here. So I've got some green cardstock, kind of a teal cardstock. This is another piece of my watercolor paper, and I'm just going to layer it up like this. This is just kind of what I planned. Okay, I didn't want to spend a lot of time cutting and trimming paper. I really wanted to get to the letterpress. So I've got this, and I'm going to set this aside, and we'll deal with that when we're putting everything together. So to begin with, I'm going to go ahead and grab my letterpress. I'm going to move these over, Alan, because I have so much stuff over here, I'm out of space. So here's some of my watercolor paper. Where's my tape? Here's my tape. This is what I do. I'm going to lift this off of here. It's just magnets. I'm going to flip that over. And I'm going to grab some of my dies. Now, I love these little bells. I think they're just so beautiful. So there's bells, and then there's the evergreen here. And let me explain something in here as well. I love that they've done this. It works beautifully. I love that they have the grid, and the grid is in 1/4 inch measurements. They've also got an A2 card and an A7 card here. Everything matches up with what they have on this lid here. See how they have all the measurements and everything there too? Okay. So I flipped this over because that's where I'm going to end up putting my paper. So this is what I do. And I believe this is how they show you. Now, if you don't want a full piece of paper, you can use whatever, little bits you want. That's totally fine. So I like to just go ahead and tape this down right into the A2 area. I tend to make A2 cards, so that's why I'm using the A2. You can tape all 4 corners if you want. I don't find that it's necessary. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to kind of ink these up a little bit. So, you can kind of look and see where you want to place things, where they're going to work. I'm just going to go and line up a few of these here and here. I'm going to do a couple of these in a pink. And now, something I'll tell you too, the way that these are designed, if you over ink, it's almost like there's a reservoir so that it should not transfer to your paper if you happen to over ink. If you do get ink on the this self healing mat here, don't worry about it, you can clean that off. So I'm going to go ahead, it might be easier if you have little cubes, but I don't have little cubes of everything. So I'm just going to go ahead with my large ink pad and just start to ink these up. And I'm just going to dab with the corner just to get it inked and make sure I've got it everywhere. And again, if I get it off somewhere on the mat, I'm not going to worry about it. Oh, Alan, will you get my, yeah, you know what I'm talking about over there.
No, I don't.
The wipe thing over there in my wipe. Alan, look at me, right there. Yes, you have to look where I'm pointing, otherwise you can't.
Where's the
Oh, you know what? You're going to have to wet this again in a moment.
Where's the cat toy?
I don't know where the cat toy is. It's funny when I'm pointing and I'm going, Alan, and he's not looking to see where I'm pointing. I find that absolutely hilarious. Well, kind of hilarious, kind of annoying, but it's also hilarious. Okay, so I've inked a couple of these. This little bit here, you can wipe that up if you want. But I'm going to go ahead and lay this over it. I tend to use one of these little shims. I should be standing for this instead. And then it's going to go right through my machine. Now, I like to feed this through with the handle first. Now, that way I can grab it. I like when I'm rolling that and I feel a little bit of pressure, like it takes a moment to get through, but it should not be so tight that you can't roll it with ease. All right, you're not die cutting here. All right, so but I do like there to be almost like a little bit of a speed bump, because then I know it's pressing it into the paper. And look how beautiful. Look how gorgeous. So we've transferred the color. I still have a little bit of ink on here, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and wipe that up. I would not recommend that you use a heavy cleaner on these. You got to remember that is a chemical coating on there. You don't want anything that's going to eat away at that over time. So I just clean it with water. You can use cleaners on the self-healing mat. Okay, so like that little bit of pink that I have in there, I can use my cleaner on that and it'll clean all that right up for me. But look how beautiful this is. Let's see if I can get that. Can you zoom in?
There.
There you go. So you can see how pretty that is. I don't know if you can, you can't really see the texture, but I'm not going to rub my finger over it right now because I want to make sure that it dries really, really well. But there is, actually, let's lift that up a moment and see.
Can you see the back or anything?
Yeah, you can see it through the back a little bit. It's got a little bit of texture on there because it pressed right into the paper. But it is just so beautiful. Love the detail. It's detail almost like a stamp would give you. Okay, so that's 2. I'm going to do a third. And so I'm going to use this one here, put this one off to the side. And I'm going to come over here. Let me see, did I do, goes this way because I want it to be, you have to think about where it's going and do the reverse of where you want it to be. Let's see, is it going to go that way? I don't want to run into the other one, so I think I go this way. Okay. I think so. We'll see. If I run into it, I run into it. I wasn't paying attention. I was talking. So I'm going to actually try and do a couple of colors on it and see how it works. This is where I just kind of get into play mode a little bit. So now I've got 2 blues. This one is Marina Madness, and then this one is Dark Wash Jeans. And I thought that it would be fun to kind of play with a couple of colors. So let's get that Marina Madness on there. Get that blue in there. And then I'm going to add some of the Dark Wash Jeans and see if I can just get like a little color variation going across there maybe. I thought that might be kind of pretty. 2-tone, why not? I'm going to go ahead and just wipe that extra little bit over there. Let's put this down. Hopefully I don't run into the one that I just did. I'm not sure if I put that on there right or not, but if I did, it's only paper. Will you zoom back out, Alan? This is really zoomed in again. There we go. Okay, little speed bump. There you go. There we go. Move that over. And let's see how we did. Ooh, look how pretty that is. 2-tone. You want to zoom in, Alan? Isn't that pretty? I think that looks gorgeous. Multiple colors. I think that looks really, really lovely. I like that a lot. I think I'm going to redo these, and I'm going to use pink and like a little burgundy with it. We're going to see how that goes. Because I think it'll be really pretty having multi-colors on there. So I guess what my thing is I think I try and use them similarly to how I would a stamp. Think of it in those terms, in terms of inking it and then running it through, you know, if you were stamping with a stamp. But the difference is you get beautiful texture. Like you really get that gorgeous deep impression into the paper. Now, if you don't feel like you've gotten a good impression in the paper, that's when you want to use one of those shims. All right. I don't feel like I get a good enough impression, even with the Spellbinders paper, when I use, or when I run it through without using one of the shims. I like to use a shim on it. There we go. You get that little bit of excess right there. And I'm going to run this through. See how we do. Okay. Let's see how we did with that. Oh, look at that. I like seeing that multiple color. I kind of got a little ink on the sides of that one a bit, but I think that's okay. I think it'll still work. I think it looks really, really pretty. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead now and just get any excess off of here, just with a little bit of water. Move these inks out of the way. And now I'm going to move on to the leaves. So I think I got all that I need with those bells. I think that's going to work just fine. Aren't those pretty? Yay! They're so gorgeous. Oh, and the texture. It just feels wonderful. I got blue on that one. I must have had it on my finger.
Have you tested it with a Big Shot?
I have tested it with the Big Shot, and it works beautifully, beautifully with the Big Shot. You know, again, try it without a shim, and if it doesn't get a deep enough impression, add a shim. If you want a little more of an impression, add a second shim. If you add too many shims, it will start to kind of curl the paper a little bit, which isn't a problem. It depends on what, you know, on what you want to see. So just know that you can do some beautiful things. I even did this on handmade cotton papers that I just bought off of Amazon. Oh my. They were amazing. Because those handmade cotton papers are really thick, no shim needed on those. And it was such a gorgeous, deep impression. It was so beautiful. I did it even without, will you zoom back out? I did it even without having any ink on the die, and it was incredibly lovely. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to use the evergreen on the evergreen. Again, if I wanted to use multicolors, I could. But I'm just going to get this inked up. There we go. Yeah, I think I got it all on there. All right. I'm going to run this through 3 times for this card. One shim works beautifully, in my opinion. Oops. There we go. Got these little pieces of tape sticking to me. All right. Look how gorgeous. There's one. I'm just going to move it over. What?
That came out good.
It's beautiful.
Zoom in on that one.
You want me to zoom in on it? Look how beautiful that is. Is that gorgeous? So, so pretty. So here's number 2. That green. And hopefully you can see how easy it is to ink this up, even with the larger ink pads. I don't think it's a problem at all. Run it through again. There we go. You know what? I think I might do... Alan, can you get me one more color? I'm going to do one that has... Let's open up this drawer right here. Give me that teal right over there. It's not a teal, but I can't think of the actual name of it. It's Tropical Sea. Tropical Sea. I'm going to do one of these where it has a couple of different colors on it. Just see how we do. I think it'll be kind of fun. So this is Tropical Sea. A little more blue than green. And now I'm going to add the green on there. Just see if I can get a little bit of variation of color. Oops. See what that looks like. I don't know if I'm going to like it. I might not, so we'll see. But it's fun to play. Run that through. There we go. And let's see what we've got. Crossing my fingers, I hope we like it. Ooh, look at that. That looks kind of cool. You want to zoom in? Let's do it this way. That looks kind of cool. I think that looks really pretty. What do you think, Alan?
I think it looks a little weird.
You think it looks weird? I think because I have like big splotches, I'm going to try it again. I'm going to leave it right where it is, and I'm going to try it again without such big splotches and see what happens. We take that green almost like right over it and get more of the green in there, so we only get a little bit of that blue. Let's try that one. See how we did. Because I kind of think it'd be fun to have one evergreen in there that has like, I think it looks neat when it kind of looks like it has a little shine to it. Oh, you forgot to zoom out.
Sorry. There we go. How's that?
Okay. All right, let's see how we did. Let's see if it's any better. Oh, look at that one. It almost looks like it's glowing. Zoom in on that one. See that one? It's gorgeous. That looks a lot better than that one.
Yeah.
So we're going to use those three because this one gives me a little variation of color. I think that's pretty. I like that. Okay, so let's clean this up a little bit. And then I'm going to show you one thing that I already did. Just for the sake of time. I already went ahead and did the Merry Christmas. You want to zoom in, Alan? There you go. I already did the Merry Christmas. And just because I don't think you need to see me actually letterpress like a gazillion times. But I used the Merry Christmas, which is right here. This one is Merry Christmas. And all I did, just in case anybody wants to know what I did, I laid this down on here like this, okay? Just so you can see how I line it up. I lined it up right at the edge. This is a little scrap of paper. Lined it up right at the edge of the corner of the A2, okay? And then when you take your die, which is right here, here's the cool thing. Let me go this way. You can use your measurements here. Make sure I have it upright. So you can use your measurements. I know I want this to be kind of close to the edge, but I can lay this out so that I'm right on the lines, the grid that they give me, and I've got it centered, all right? And then when I run that through, I would ink it. This goes right over the top of it, and then it comes out just like this, and it feels beautiful. Isn't it just great? I absolutely love this. I think it's so gorgeous. I love the font too. Isn't it a beautiful, fun? I just think it's so pretty. Love the font. Searched long and hard to find a font that I loved for this. So, okay. The next step, we're now done with the Letterpress portion of the program. Unless we have questions, unless anybody has questions that I haven't seen. But I'm going to move the Letterpress out of the way now. And bring these over, because now we're going to do some die cutting. Get that other little shim over. And now I want to cut the little leaves and the bells out. So now I'm going to grab, so I set my Letterpress aside, and now I grab my regular Spellbinders plates. Do you want to zoom out, Alan? Thank you. So now I'm going to use the plates that come with my platinum. I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way and kind of clean up a little bit so I've got my, so I know what I've got and where things are. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead now and start with the bells. I'm going to do these two bells here and the blue one, I think. So I'm going to line these up just like so and get them taped into place. And we've made these lines a little bit tighter to the images. The cut lines are a little bit tighter to the images because the dies are separate Now these dies are your regular wafer thin die, so they are the same thickness as your regular wafer thin dies. They're not as thick as the letterpress dies. I like to have the blade down, and that way it's going to cut into that bottom plate, and it's going to save the top plate from curling so much. There we go. See what we've got. You want to zoom in, Alan? And look how pretty. Peel this up, make sure all is good. You don't want to tear anything. I always like to remove the tape slowly. Look how beautiful that is. And the great thing is, too, it's not pressing so hard that it flattens out that impression that you got. I can still feel that wonderful impression in that bell. It feels really great. It's really nice. So it's not going to flatten it out. There we go. Here's the other one. Look how pretty. And it just feels exquisite. I love that. That's one of those things like, you know, like I love the smell of paper. I love the feeling of this impression. I think it's really cool. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. What, Alan? Is there a question?
I was seeing it. They put a light on it if you can see better.
Oh, I don't know. All right, so I just want this little piece here because I want to fit more on. So we want this one. I have scissors somewhere, don't I? All right, here's my scissors. I'm going to go ahead and just trim this just because I want things to fit nice and easily. So I need one more bell die, which is right here, and we're going to get the leaves cut. Where's my tape? It's right here. Here we go. So we made sure that the dies are hollow so you can see where you're placing things around the images that you just impressed with your impression dies. You want to zoom back out? Oops, I just lost one. There we go. Come on. There we go. Hard to do when I'm sitting. I should be standing. There we go. I find that I stand more to craft. All the counters in the new studio are, they're all counter height instead of desk height. So I'm finding I tend to stand more when I'm crafting, but I have to sit when I'm doing this here because when I stand, it's like the camera's up too high. It's really kind of weird. Anyway, look how pretty. Oh, that feels so great. Okay, we've got two more of the little leaves. I just love how they feel. That's something you'll get it. Like when if you don't have yours yet at home, when you get yours home, you'll feel that and you'll go, oh, okay, now I know why she kept rubbing it. It's kind of like addicting.
It's a weird habit.
Huh?
It's a weird habit.
What'd you say?
It's a weird habit.
Yeah, it is weird, but it's
like when you kept rubbing the dye and you wouldn't stop.
I know, it is. It's very strange. It's because it feels really nice on your fingertips. So
it's like Lenny with his
Lenny
with his rabbit's foot in his pocket.
Is that a Lenny and Squiggy thing?
That's a of Mice and Men.
Oh yeah, I don't. Wow, I think you just dated yourself, my dear.
Maybe.
All right, so one more. I'm going to run this through again. All right, one more time, and then we're going to assemble this card. Yes, sensory. I agree. You're right, Sherry. Sherry says, Angie, you're a tactile person. Thank you. I think I am. I think you are correct.
That's a word I've never used.
Oh, shoot. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Evergreen overboard.
Uh-oh.
It's right there. I just dropped it on the floor.
did that on purpose.
I did. I just wanted to, it was time for you to stretch.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put that off to the side there. All right, let's see. See how we did. It's like Christmas morning. Look how beautiful. Ah! Now, if you can't make a gorgeous card with these pieces, then I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so let's see what happens. We're going to see. I'm going to put this one. I don't need this one. This stuff I think is like, that can go. All right, let's see what we've got. Let's put this together and see where we land. You know what I don't have is a card base. I'm going to need you to zoom in while we start to put things together. And I don't have a card base, so we're just going to make a card topper. I am out. For some reason, I seem to be a little out of practice. I don't know what's happening. So I'm actually going to just kind of adhere these down. And basically what I did is I just kind of went 1/4 inch smaller on each of these, on the, either 1/4 to 1/2 inch smaller, just to get some little borders on these. And I am going to have some dimension, so I don't want to put foam behind all of these things. I think it might be a little too much dimension if I do that. So I'm just going to put this down. Is that centered? I can't see very well. I think so. We'll go with that. Looks good. Okay. And I'm going to need this. And I'm going to need this. So let me do some trimming. Oops. I'm going to grab my sentiment, and I don't have measurements for this. I literally eyeball it. But here's what I will tell you, is I made sure I grabbed a card that was already going to be the width that I needed. So it's going to go straight across like this. Okay, it's the 4 1/4 across. And I'm going to trim this out so that I have, let me do it this direction. Nope, can't do it that direction. I need something to hold on to. Kind of eyeballing here a little bit. Just so I had like, oh, wow, Angie needs a new blade. Wow, that was rough. Literally rough.
Want me to get your blade?
Nah, I'll just scrape off the excess. Wow, that was bad. Okay, sorry. So that's going to go here. And then I want this to go on a piece. So I'm going to trim this to 4 1/4. Yeah, it's not great. And then I'm going to place this roughly like this here. And then just kind of eyeball it again where I want it to be. I'm not going to adhere that white piece down, the sentiment, until I've trimmed this turquoise, because I want to make sure it's centered. And if I don't cut this perfectly, like if I adhere it down and I don't cut it perfectly, then it won't be centered. And I've just learned to do it afterwards. So I'm just getting those little pieces off of there that, because it didn't cut smooth. Okay. So now I've got my sentiment, which is going to adhere like this. Let's go ahead and do that. You know what's weird? I have all of my tools off to the left, and for years I had them off to the right. I keep searching for them in the other direction. Actually, you know what? Do I want to put this up on some foam? No, I'm not going to. Let's just adhere this down. Try not to put my head in the camera. There we go. And get those little pieces. This is going to go on foam though, at the bottom. So I'm going to work my way up on the card. So I'm going to put the sentiment on here first, and then I'm going to do the arrangement afterwards because I want this to be in a very specific place. So let's get some of this foam, and I'm just going to trim a piece. Oh wow, look at that. Somebody did that pretty good job without measuring. There we go. There we go. So that's going to give me a little bit of dimension, and put that right at the bottom. I think that looks really pretty. This color is like a really dark green. It almost looks black on the camera, I'm noticing, but it's just a dark green. So you see the green? See, when the light hits it there, you can see it better. The lights are, it makes it, ooh, wow, that would have been bad.
Well, it just would have been upside down.
Yeah, it would have been upside down. Look how cute that is already. I like it. All right, so I don't think I'm going to put these, I might put this one up on foam. So this is kind of what I'm thinking of doing. Something like this. Because we actually had a sample card that we did that was very similar, and I liked it a lot. So this is kind of what I'm thinking of doing, is this kind of an arrangement. Because I think it's really pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? I like it. All right, but some of these need to have a little bit of foam on them. So we're going to do that. These two, I don't want foam on them. So I'm just going to use my tape and put that down like so, and do this one, just double-sided tape. Let's go this way. Angle it a little bit differently. And then I'm going to, what am I doing? I'm going to put this one here, and we're going to use a little bit of foam for it. I think I'm going to put foam on these other 4 pieces here. Just little pieces. I'm not going to press them all the way down yet because I don't know if I want to move them or not. So we'll see how that goes. So I think this one will go here. This one may not, I may not do foam on that one. Actually, you know what? I think I'm not going to. I think I'm just going to tape that one down because I have other things that are going kind of on top of it. So that one will go there. This one will have foam. I'm not going to press it down. That, just loosely. And then this one may have to have a little more. I think that's going to work.
Wow.
I think that works. What do you think? What, Alan?
It came out great.
Thank you. And then this one, I'm going to put that foam up a little bit higher. It's getting in the way. Put that foam up a little bit higher, like that. This one almost needs to have a little something under there, so I'm going to give that a little bit of liquid adhesive. I probably should have put some double-sided tape maybe under there just to catch that flap a little bit. Let that sit for a moment. I may not even need it. But what do you think?
Well, I have no idea where you're going.
I think it's pretty. Save my phone. So there we go. That little piece there. All I need is a card base to put it on, and I don't have a card base right now.
Can you
But
show the side of it or anything?
hmm?
Yeah, show the side of it so that people can see what it's
See the dimension? And you can still feel all that wonderful texture. What? You laughing at me again?
Everybody people give cards to, all they're going to do is be rubbing them.
Well, it's just so pretty, and you can see that dimension better when it's in person. I really like the two-tone on here too, having that, that kind of pink and then that little bit of that more burgundy color and then the 2 shades of blue. I think that looks really pretty. It almost makes it look like it's got a glow to it, and I think it's really nice. So I hope you guys like that. It is so, 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 so fun. I absolutely love working with the letterpress. So we have so many different letterpress. The bells are just one of them. We've got, Christmas trees and snowflake ornaments. You want to go back to the front?
You want to show them all?
Huh? No, I showed them all. I did a whole video, live video last week where we went through the entire collection, the entire release, and all of the letterpress dies that we have. So there's a lot to choose from, and they're just
a lot more coming.
a lot. Yes, and we even have more coming. So look how pretty. I think it's really great.
You didn't want to mention the foiling?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
Okay, so look how pretty. Yay. Okay, so how about, we're almost out of time. Or were there any questions before we get to the giveaway? Were there any questions about anything? Let me see. Were there any questions I missed? Did you see anything?
Why are you so mean to Alan? That's the only one I saw.
Alan, why are you so mean to Alan? Okay, questions from anybody other than you. How's that? Okay, so let's do a giveaway. And whenever we do a giveaway, I always like to do a giveaway of something that I've used on the live. So today's giveaway is actually going to be the Good Tidings sentiments, the letterpress sentiments. Yay! Okay, so if you haven't left a comment, make sure you do so, because it's the only way that we know that you're here. It's the only way that we can possibly select your name. So get something out there, and Alan is going to be selecting somebody's name. Let's see, are there any questions? I thought I saw. No, it wasn't a question. Okay. Mr. Hunt, yes, I'm waiting for you to select the name.
Oh, Sheila Fisher.
Sheila Fisher?
Yeah.
Sheila Fisher, you are tonight's winner. You have won the Good Tidings Impression Letterpress dies. Yay, girl. Awesome. Congratulations. Please do me a favor and send your name and your complete address to customer service at ldrscreative.com, and we will get your Good Tidings letterpress dies out to you right away. I think Mr. Hunt will get them shipped first thing tomorrow morning if we have all that information. So congratulations. All right, everybody, that is a wrap for tonight. This was so much fun. I enjoyed being here with you guys. We will be here again for another free class next week, I believe. No, we won't be here next week.
You won't?
No, next week I'm going to be teaching at the Scrapbook and Cards Today Crop and Create. So we will not, and it's during the same time that we will be doing our live. So I won't be here next week because we're going to be otherwise engaged in that wonderful event. So if you're in that event, I will see you then. Can't wait to teach that. But we will be returning here for our live classes 2 weeks from tonight, 7 p.m. on Thursday night, per usual. Looking forward to seeing you guys again. For those of you that are in the event, we're actually going to be doing the meet and greet in about 30 minutes with that event. So if you're in that event, I will see you in about a half an hour over there. So pretty cool. Thank you guys so much for being here. We will see you again shortly. Have a wonderful evening. Have a fantastic weekend. Please, if you will, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us some likes as well if you enjoyed this video. And we will be back here again soon. So have a great evening. Bye, everybody.